The social media battle is the key to winning any 21st century war. That's according to the journalist and author David Patrikarakos, who has written a book called War in 140 Characters, How Social Media is Reshaping Conflict in the 21st Century. And he's with me now, hotfoot. Welcome to you indeed.
Morning.
Now, social media is sort of something you do sitting in a room, by and large, in safety.
Sure.
How does that affect warfare?
Well, I mean, for most of us, we sit and do it in safety, but for many people, they don't. Many people, they are tweeting and posting and sharing from war zones. And this really does affect the war on the ground, especially if you're looking at a situation like Israel against Hamas, for example, where there is a huge disequilibrium of power. And countries like Israel can win the military battle, but when Palestinian tweeters are tweeting images of dead children, dead bodies, of utter carnage, they end up losing the informational narrative war. And this is very, very important because we are living in an age where actually politics and military goals have intertwined.
So is it propagandistic, or is it more than that in terms of its practical effect?
Because war is becoming the practice of politics itself, winning the narrative war is becoming almost more important in certain cases, Russia-Ukraine, than winning the war on the ground. And that is something that is quite new.
IS, of course, Islamic State, in contrast to Al-Qaeda, Islamic State very, very active on social media.
Absolutely. I mean, Islamic State could not have been possible without social media. If it had emerged 20 years ago, it would have taken them 20 years to reach a quarter of the people they did. And critically, what you see now is as their physical caliphate is being defeated on the ground, their virtual caliphate is expanding. So what they're doing is they're franchising. So they don't have a state anymore in Iraq and Syria. So what they're doing is they're franchising. So, you know, they're essentially people are committing terrorist atrocities in London, in Paris, in Brussels, in their name, and that's how they remain relevant.
And does social media, I mean, you've worked as a war correspondent, I mean, can it actually affect the way the conflict goes? I mean, is there information that's exchanged that becomes, you know, valuable? Yeah,
I mean, certainly. I mean, Elliot Higgins, for example, classic online nerdy war gamer, used these skills to use open source information to prove that the Russians provided a missile that shot down the aircraft over East Ukraine. And stuff like that affects war. And the Russian government, this is the government of the largest country in the world, has had to come out and set up specific press conferences to rebut these findings of this essentially one guy and his gang of a few mates. I mean, this would have been, you know, impossible 10 years ago. And again, if you look at Russia-Ukraine, traditionally, two sides have had a fight. The winner has defeated the loser and then imposed a political settlement on it. Treaty of Versailles after World War I is a classic example. Now, countries don't seek that. Putin never sought to militarily defeat Ukraine and forced them to negotiate it, which he easily could have done in the beginning. Instead, what he did is try to destabilize the country. And how did he want to do this? By getting Eastern Ukrainians to subscribe to a particular narrative that the Kiev government was a fascist junta, that they wanted to destroy the speaking Russian and persecute ethnic Russians. So what he did is he sent in some tanks, soldiers, to create a space in Eastern Ukraine to allow this propaganda to come unfiltered. So what you saw was military operations on the ground supporting information operations as opposed to the traditional in wartime, which is information. And that is very dangerous because that is war. Clausewitz said war is politics by other means. This is war as politics itself.
So what can we do about it? I mean, do we just have to fix it?
Look, I mean, you see the tech hearings now in America. The social media companies have culpability for this, whether it be not taking down, you know, free speech is great. Hate speech, incitement to violence is not. Fake news, well, I don't like the term, it's lies. It's not fake news, it's just lies. People have to become more social media aware. We have to teach social media literacy in schools. We have to get people to understand that when something is popular, doesn't mean that it's good. There is, you know, usually it's the inverse. Sensationalist stuff goes viral. Often.
So what, you need to educate people in schools?
Absolutely. I think we have to really start because people are coming of an age. Our generation, we grew up without the internet. We have children now, they cannot imagine a life without it. And where do you get your information from? From social media.
David Patrikarakos, thank you very much.
Thank you.